Alright, YouTube, a day ago I posted on my blog that a situation might soon arise that would cause a delay in my work for some time. And several people, one person thought it was like, oh, well, no, the Styx is dying or something like that. That's not the case. I'm perfectly healthy. Has nothing to do with my parents, except that my grandfather actually has died. And I consider him my biological grandfather, even though technically he's a step-grandfather. Having adopted my mother. I knew him more than I knew. I never even met two of my biological grandparents died before I was born. One I only met, within a year of his passing, and the other had lived some distance away, and so I only saw her, I think maybe 100 times over my life before she was dead. So I knew her, but as far as relatives, grandparent level relatives that I actually was in regular contact with, it was my step-grandfather. Unfortunately, he died a few hours before I'm making this video. It's obviously I'm not in the best of moods at the moment. I'm also not feeling particularly well, partially because of that. It's really sad for me, especially because he's the one that taught me how to garden. And that's been one of my greatest joys in life, so I'm pretty sad about that fact. I'm trying to keep myself composed at the moment. Of course, when you're talking about it, it becomes more sad than when you're just thinking about it, so it could become a problem. There's also another reason why it may delay my work. In the interest of full disclosure for all of my subscribers, my literary fans, this is the reason that I wanted to rush to get as much work done as I could. I managed to get 3 works re-edited. Okay, that's fine. It is what it is. One, I won't go into full details with everything here, but one of my technically relatives, one of his biological children, filed some time ago a legal case against my family. And I'm not exactly sure what he's after with regards to this, whether it's money or the house or whatever. I'm not even fully sure. But there is a legal case that now, because my grandfather has died, I'm assuming that it will move forward beyond a snail's pace, which is what it has for over a year now. It's complicated. That's just all I'll say. So, unfortunately, that means probably having to put on my Sunday best and go to court. Even though I don't believe I'm directly named in this legal battle, obviously being there for moral support for my family and so forth is important. It could cause financial problems in the immediate future as well, because of course you have to pay lawyers. If you get screwed by the legalese of a place like the state of Cuckmont, naturally you're going to be hurting for certain for a little bit. I'm not in any danger of being homeless or anything like that. Just to say, there's a possibility that I'll no longer be residing at this property, which means, of course, I overhauled the garden for nothing. Thanks, greedy relative, or whatever the case may be. But essentially, that's what's happening right now. So the situation is fluid, and it could turn out that that becomes nothing, that the case is decided in our favor and nothing comes of it, which would be great. Otherwise, I won't be dwelling in a house for a little while. I'd be in an apartment. Again, it is what it is, I suppose. But I am sad about my grandfather's passing because I knew him quite well. We were living with him for years, took care of him and so forth. When he became old and he could no longer care for himself, trying to, of course, here not talk about my somewhat bitterness towards some of my other relatives involved. Some of our relatives, they visited him and got along with him, didn't do anything, but I know more about the situation than some parties think that I know. That's all I'll say about that, let's just say. But yeah, my grandfather has died, so over the coming, I don't know how long, I can't even give an estimate because I don't know what will happen with the case involved. Now, obviously, there will be a funeral. There will be the sort of remembrance services and so forth. I'll be present for those, obviously. So there will be times when I'm not on YouTube. There will be times when I'm not able to get editing and writing done. I'm still going to go full steam ahead at every possible opportunity. There's an election to cover, I understand. I have responsibilities here to literally tens of thousands of people. I understand that, but I've also got to look after myself and for the well-being of my family as well. So for some time, if I don't upload for a day or two, that's the reason why. It has something to do with that. I'll try to keep people appraised of the basics of the situation going forth. But that's really the best that I can do. That's the best that I can promise under these conditions. But yeah, that's the situation. My grandfather's dead. That's what I spoke of on my blog. It has nothing to do with, it's not my parent has a neurodegenerative disorder or something like somebody posted. It has nothing to do with my health. It had to do with the fact that an 89-year-old man was dying, which is, of course, what happens. He's now off enjoying the wild hunt, and as a pagan, and as a genuine pagan, I do believe that, by the way, unironically. I don't think that the human consciousness ends upon death. That part doesn't sadden me at all. It's actually a happy time for a person when they finally breathe their last breath. But for everybody else who's still in their mortal coil on Earth, of course, they're bereaved of that individual, so it's a totally different story. That's about all. Peace out.